Good evening and welcome to the October 10th, 2023 meeting of the Spackenkill Union Free School District Board of Education. I'd ask you to rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask you to remain standing in a moment of silence for the victims and the families and friends of the victims of the most heinous act of terror and murder in Israel at this point. Thank you. Okay, so item 2.01 is our external audit. We have a presentation.
All right, Joe, you're up.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Joe Hero. I'm a principal with the Bonavio Group. I'm responsible for overseeing your audit. I've been doing it probably 5-6 years now. So the scope of our services, an audit of the financial statements in accordance with government auditing standards. I will also have a report on internal controls and compliance that's also in accordance with government auditing standards. And then there's an audit of the extra classroom activity fund. That's in accordance with the cash basis. Then there's a required communications letter that I'll just touch on real quick. And then what we have not finished yet or even started is the single audit, the audit of the federal expenditures, mainly because I wanted to focus on getting this, the financial statement out with the October 15th deadline for submitting it to New York State. So in summary, we anticipate issuing an unmodified opinion that the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with GAAP. This is the highest level of assurance we can give. With regards to the Yellow Book report, we did not identify any material weaknesses in internal controls over the school district's financial reporting, and there were no compliance issues. There's no opinion on that internal control report, the Yellow Book report. We test controls. We use those tests to determine the extent of our substantive testing of the financial statement items. With regards to the extra classroom activity fund, we anticipate issuing an unmodified opinion on those as well. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Val, Sharon, and all other staff at the school district that help us complete the audit in a timely manner. That's it. Questions?
Thanks, Joe.
Any questions? Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks to
All right,
Val
thank you.
Joe,
thanks to Val and
yeah.
all the administration. It's a great report.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. You do a good job with us, and I know our staff likes working with you, and want to also thank you, but thank Val and Sharon, because I know they put a lot of effort into this, so thank you, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Have a good night.
Am I closing this?
Okay, item 3.01 is public comments on consent agenda items only. Do we have any public comments on the consent agenda? Any board comments or questions? Anyone? Val, I was just going to ask you if you would just mind clarifying item 10.04 for the public.
Sure. 10.04 is a request to have the board approve a issuance of a corrected tax bill for the Hearst Corporation. The Office of Real Property Tax Services inadvertently entered in a higher assessment than the reduced assessment that was granted to them last year. So the town of Poughkeepsie needs to issue a corrected tax bill that would reflect the actual tax amount that's due to that reduced assessment.
So now is the Dutchess County Real Property Tax Services Is that a separate service, or is that part of the town?
It's part of the town, and they handle entering in all the assessment information that's used to prepare the tax bill.
Thank you for that. Anybody else, any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0.
So with the consent agenda passing, we actually passed the recommendation to hire our new Director of Facilities. He is here tonight, Mr. Anthony D'Amato. Just to speak a little bit about Anthony, we interviewed him numerous times, John, Val, and a whole team, and he survived each level. But he impressed us from the start, but he continued to impress us more and more. We did a walkthrough of the entire district, went to each building, and he saw things that we didn't see. So that was definitely a key. But we're looking forward to it. He has an infectious, positive attitude, which we definitely have here at Spack and Kill. So I think he'll fit in nicely with that. Val or John, anything to add?
He's definitely going to be an asset to the district. He is also high energy, which will definitely, get things done. So I'm definitely looking forward to working with you and, helping acclimate you to the district.
We definitely will miss Dave, who obviously retired, but we're looking forward to Anthony and his infectious and his high. Oh, he's got something to live up to, right? Anthony, so congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I certainly appreciate the opportunity, the district, the board. Thank you. I'm just looking forward to many years to come, achieving the district's facilities goals, and really excited to be part of the Spack and Kill community. Everybody's made me feel really welcome and warm, and it's been a pleasure so far. So thanks very much, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks.
We told him everything that we needed. The facilities plan was coming along, and he still said yes. So, congrats, and we're looking forward to working with Anthony.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 11.01, our elementary administration update.
All right, good evening, everyone. The last time we spoke, I've written down it was September 12th, and I think we had 3 days of school under our belt, but Nassau really only had 2 with the snow day, so this is a much different update. So I remember at that update we talked about what an honor it was to have Jeff Bryan was going to come the next week from the Positivity Project, and it was really, in Spack and Kill and at Nassau, we very much don't rest on our laurels. And with P2, every year it's been about, hey, what can we add? What can we do better? Let's reflect back. Let's get better. And we had a moment that day when he was walking through the hallways, and I know he did the other buildings as well, where, comparing us to other districts, he was super, super impressed with the progress we've made. So that was a wonderful experience. He got into, at Nassau, 4 different classrooms at each grade level. That was wonderful. Curriculum night we had on September 21st. I think Nassau may have been the last curriculum night. And really, I think all of the good of Spack and Kill kind of comes out on that night. One of the things that we did different this year was we offered babysitting so that we could get multiple parents from the same household coming out, or other parents that would not be able to otherwise come because of childcare. And we were kind of expecting 5, 6, 7, 8 kids to be there. And so we kind of staffed it accordingly. We had help from the Leo Club, and we had a couple monitors in there. But I walked down there at one point, and there must have been 50 kids. And so every classroom was packed. Parking was down the street, so it was really a nice night. Safety drills, we have to get in 8 of them prior to December 1st. We have 5 done. We've done 4 fire drills or evacuation drills, and we just did a lockdown drill. The kids did great. We have the walk-away drill coming up in a couple weeks. Testing is complete. So at Nassau we do F&P. We also do iReady. And so we're kind of in this nice window of time where we feel like we are meeting every student where they're at. And it's really nice because we have periods in ELA and in math where based off of your level, you go to a different place. And that might be a different teacher in the building. It might be in the classroom. A lot of the teachers do different center work. So we definitely take a lot of pride in that. And then the next couple weeks are super busy. So just a couple dates that we have coming up. We have pictures coming up on Friday. The book fair is next week. And then Trunk or Treat is a pretty big deal. If you've ever been there over at Hagen last year, the whole Lynch crew showed up for Trunk or Treat. We were very excited about our costumes. And then we saw the D'Souza's. And so if you know anything about Mrs. D'Souza, they don't just have nice costumes, they all coordinate their costumes. So I made sure to call Mrs. D'Souza this year to hook the Lynches up, so we're gonna be ready for Trunk or Treat this year. Again, our health committee, we always organize the Great Pumpkin Run, that's on the 27th. And then on Halloween, we have a nice parade where we invite all the parents in and parties in the classroom. So a lot of good stuff coming up on the horizon.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Lynch, wasn't Mr. D'Souza a crayon last?
He sure was.
And what color crayon was I?
You were green for
Of course.
Spack and Kill.
Of course.
So we'll have to be surprised.
You'll
Is
have to
there
come
a
to
big
Trunk or
reveal
Treat.
over what the costume is?
No, at Trunk or Treat you'll see the reveal. And yes, my wife is working on their costumes as well. He stole all my thunder, so I feel like it might be repetitive, but we also had our curriculum night. We also offered babysitting. We had about 7, 8, 9 students from the NHS alone there, and it was really well received. A bunch of parents reached out to me, and like Mr. Lynch had said, it got both parents in the classroom. There were parents that told me they weren't going to be able to come without any sort of childcare, so it was a nice addition, and again, packed and a great night for teachers and parents. Jeff Bryan visit was excellent as well. He was really, really impressed. He got into all 3 grade levels at Hagen as well, and he definitely was impressed by our P2 shirts. I posted it on my Hagen Twitter account, and a lot of P2 principals and schools follow us, and by far they thought our shirt was the best P2 shirt they've ever seen. So a lot of credit to Arlington Inc. for that. Our music ensembles are in full swing. If you're dropping off in the morning, you certainly feel that. But we're at capacity, basically. Chorus numbers are so high that we usually do 4 or 5 choristers together. That's impossible. So 4th grade chorus and 5th grade chorus had to split into 2. So they meet every morning. Our silver strings, our gold strings are at an all-time high, and then our concert band is at an all-time high. So music interest is really, really high, and it's awesome, and the kids are participating at all-time levels. We also have our morning trades program, so Mrs. Skorlick meets with kids at all 3 grade levels in the morning as well, where kids learn some hands-on trades development skills, learning how to hammer, learning how to properly use a handsaw, and the different trades careers that they can go into. So that's really kicked off. We had our book fair last week, which was awesome. Thank you to the PTA and the volunteers for running that. October 12th, so this Thursday, the fire department, Arlington Fire, will be at Hagen. I think last year when the board did the walkthrough, Arlington Fire was there. So the 3rd graders get a treat of getting to go into a fire safety house. They take them through all the different protocols and evacuation routes, and then they actually run a drill with the students, which is really cool. I have to give a shout out to Healy Chevrolet. It's actually a SPAC parent who's one of the finance managers there. Every year he is able to hook up the Spack and Kill Elementary PTA with $1,000 which goes a long way. It's an incredible donation and, just give back to the community. So thank you for that. OM tryouts are done. So our Odyssey of the Mind teams, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade are set. They'll start practicing soon once we get all the parent volunteers lined up and coaches. So we're really excited for what they can do. They always do a fantastic job and represent Hagen very, very well. Like Mr. Lynch said, trunk or treat's coming up. I'm looking forward to that. In addition to our Halloween parade and parties, we do what's known as Recess Rodeo. So our gym teachers put together this whole elaborate schedule for all 3 grade levels to go out on the playground and kind of learn the different games. We did add, thanks to the PTA, 2 Gaga pits at Hagen and 1 Gaga pit at Nassau. If you don't know what Gaga ball is, it's very hard to describe. YouTube, it's quite a scene. Kids are in this octagon thing and they're kind of slapping the ball at each other, and it looks like chaos, but they run it very, very well. The first time I saw Gaga ball was at Sharp last year, and pretty much any time a 5th grader had downtime, they were in the Gaga pit. So it's been a hit. Thank you to Mike, the head custodian at Hagen, for putting them together, and the kids are absolutely just like magnets over there in the Gaga pit. So they'll learn those type of things at Recess Rodeo, and then we do a nice DEI presentation in the cafeteria. We present on bullying and DASA in the gym, and the classes rotate through. So it's a really cool morning to kind of take that energy of Halloween and put it towards something positive. And that's what we got going on.
Eric and Clinton, before you go, talking more about Gaga ball. So I remember Clinton, I think maybe Mr. Farrell was with us, we were at Sharp, and do you remember what we were amazed with the Gaga?
There were no adults.
Right.
The kids were just running it themselves.
So let's speak to that.
Yeah.
So, we talk about how a lot of times nowadays things are supervised. When you were younger, you kind of just went out on the street and played, and that's kind of been absent a little bit. Gaga seems to be like a return to that, where the students, they organize it themselves, they explain the rules, and
they know who's in and out. It's like clockwork for them. Me, I think it was Mr. Lynch and yourself, we just stood back and were just amazed that 50 5th graders just running this game by themselves. It was pretty awesome.
yeah, so it's even more than just exercise. It seems to be gathering them and having them take leadership roles and do some of the stuff that we did as youngsters. So
So
it's
how
good to see.
did they learn to play it? I mean, because it requires this facility, right?
He's the master of Gaga.
How do the kids learn?
So we don't, so ours hasn't been put together yet, but full disclosure, we don't expect it to go as smoothly at the K2 level. So we are explicitly teaching the game in PE before we actually introduce it to them outside. So they'll be very excited though.
Yeah, I think at camps and different events, like a lot of elementary schools do have them.
But it requires a structure. Right?
Yeah.
You can't
Mhm.
just play it on their own.
No, yeah, you need the walls. You need the walls of like the octagon shape. So
Interesting. I'll have to look it up.
yeah, it's quite a scene. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Item 12.01 is public comment on non-agenda items. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Okay, item 12.02 is board correspondence. I have none. Item 13.01 is comments from the board. Any comments from our board? Richard?
Yeah, just a comment, a couple of comments that are related. First meeting of the Dutchess County School Boards Association was last Thursday, the 5th of October, so I attended that. This is a organization that brings together members of school districts, school boards throughout Dutchess County, and meet once a month. And the tradition has become to meet on Zoom, which seems to work pretty well. So I attended the first meeting, and it was nice to see everyone there again, and I won't go through everything that we talked about, but just a quick little, a couple of highlights. The New York State School Board Association annual meeting is coming up later this month. And the business meeting part of that is coming up on the 16th of October, next Monday. So there was some discussion of that and review of some of the resolutions that will be voted on at that business meeting. So we talked about that. And then under the topic of legislative advocacy, we talked about a number of issues that are coming up this year. And under the topic of member concerns, there was quite a bit of discussion of the electric bus initiative program, which we've talked about here at our meetings previously. But lots of strong feelings, suffice to say, lots of strong feeling around Dutchess County about the initiative to convert our school buses, our district school buses, to electric vehicles. So we talked about that quite a while. And then looking forward to a couple of events later in the year. Coming up early November, the Lower Hudson Education Coalition has a dinner in Brewster. It's moved up to Brewster this year. It's been a little further south in the past. So there's some talk about people who might be able to organize with their districts and district boards and attend that dinner. There was some discussion of a presentation at a recent educational leadership conference about AI, artificial intelligence, and educational leadership. A lot of interest in that and some discussion of it, and apparently that's going to be viewable on Zoom, I think, so I can provide details to our board if people would be interested in attending a reprisal of that web event, I guess, coming up in November. A lot of people had attended this and spoke very highly of it, so it's something that we might be interested in learning a little bit more about ourselves. So those are a few of the highlights from that meeting. Happy to answer any questions if any come up, but just like to identify some of the topics of concern. And then, as I said, the New York State School Board Association business meeting is coming up Monday, and I'll be attending that fair and voting on the resolutions as the delegate for Spackenkill at that meeting. There are some 56, I believe, resolutions that will be voted on at that meeting. So, promises to be a long evening, I think.
Thanks for that update. And I didn't really have anything prepared to add, but I would say thank you to you. We do all spend a lot of our free time doing the work of the school board, and to have you doing some of these extra steps, Dutchess County School Board, and being our voting delegate for NYSBA, we really appreciate that, so thank you very much. I'll pass it over to item 13.02, which is our comments from the superintendent.
Thank you. What Mr. Kohler just said kind of blends into something I'm going to say, but I'm going to put that aside for now. I want to thank Mr. Kohler for having a moment of silence at the beginning of the meeting, and would let the community know to look for something in our newsletter coming up on Friday. I definitely want to address it, and we're looking to maybe put some resources in the newsletter, so in case people want to go deeper into how to help maybe your child if they're feeling not so good about what's going on. So look for that on Friday. I'd like to let everyone know that the administrators were CPR certified today. So it was actually a nice activity for us. I believe we saved all the dummies. Pretty much, but it was good. So be aware of that. And finally, Mr. Kohler started talking about thanking Dr. Horvath, and talked a little bit about board members and serving a lot of time for us. And it's that time of year where we want to recognize our school board, because I have something I want to read directly from NYSBA, but the amount of time you put in as a volunteer, which I want to stress is amazing, and you need to be commended for that. So this comes right from NYSBA. Boards of education guide their local school systems and ensure public schools are flexible and responsive to the needs of the community. School boards are comprised of volunteers, most of whom do not receive any compensation for their service. This is accurate. They are individuals within the community who dedicate their time to improving public education. And, that last sentence is exactly what everyone on our board does. You're dedicating your time, you're volunteering your time for the betterment of our community and for public education. So we thank you. Before you leave, we do have a gift for you to thank you for that. But really just wanted to thank you, from me and from everyone here, our administrators and our team here, and Sandra, who works very close with you. Thank you so much. Did I sum it up, Sandra?
Yes, you did. Perfect.
And I'll close with that, with a thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for mentioning the support services that are available for our students and for our faculty, whoever might need it. It's a trying time right now. You turn on the news and watch what's going on over there right now. Our next meeting is October 24th. We hope to see you then. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of business that we have to stick around for, so the board will take a vote to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussing matters pertaining to contract negotiations. After the executive session, the board does not anticipate any further business being discussed. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, passes 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.